Thank you very much for organizing this platform, for inviting me to witness the launching of this wonderful and useful book. Let me say that I was not expecting to contribute. I was expecting to listen to the contributors and to be inspired by their words, with the view to aspire to contribute in the future. So, because I don't have a prepared text, I would like to play around with few words that has been mentioned here to speculate and maybe articulate few concepts around them. Indeed, we met exactly the day before the invasion. We met, it looks like has been years ago, centuries ago. Almost 3 weeks when everything that we built over the past 70 years has been destroyed by a sick mind of someone who has even more responsibilities than most of us here around the table to secure and to preserve what has been achieved after the Second World War, particularly the international order, and particularly in its triple capacity as a member of the United Nations, a member of the Security Council, and a member of the P5. Dear Dr. Wang, Henry, talking about words and playing with words, to be very honest, when I came here, I was sure that I am coming for the launching of a book on China and the world in a changing context that definitely has been planned, drafted long ago. But I see that this is also the title of our meeting today, and I would rather prefer to see a meeting about China and the context in a changing world. Because first of all, I believe China belongs to the world. There is no world in China. And my preference for a title that would mention China in the context in the changing world will also mean China has responsibilities that we are still looking at to be clearly spelled out. My dear friend from Egypt, Ambassador Al-Badri, wanted to start his intervention with a historical moment, but that was about assassination, a historical assassination. And I don't believe when people are dying around us because of sick minds, same like 2000 years ago, we should speak about assassination. But Henry, because you mentioned about us being bridges, let me build a bridge between Muhammad, taking account on the wonderful intervention of my good friend Jose, and opening the door to Ambassador of Spain, my dear friend Rafael, because today we are also celebrating an important event for the humanity, and that is the return to Spain in 1493 of Christopher Columbus after he discovered the New World. After he discovered the New World. We saw that the world that we are living in, it's ours. And because here there were references to manipulation, to disinformation. For me, at least, as an ambassador who already served in this country 4.5 years, perhaps one of the buzzwords that I will carry with me my whole life would be win-win and share future. I believe it's time for us for share responsibilities. We need to have, share, and equal responsibilities. The idea was to refer to our bilateral relations and to the changing world. And I cannot elude this because looking around the table, I have a double responsibility. I have the responsibility of being a country that recognized China among the first. Romania was the third country after Soviet Union and Bulgaria. And in the last 73 years, I believe we built one of the most special bilateral relations that serve as a model. Bilateral relation that has been always described by three words: consistency, continuity, coherence. Coherence, consistency, and continuity, including with respects, particularly in the last 30 years, to our strategic options. For us, Romanians, our link with China mark an important moment that shaped the world. That shaped the world and also shaped China. And that goes back in 1968, when a China, which was not a member of the United Nations, was not a member of the Security Council, China, which was just a country in the middle of the Cultural Revolution, stood up with Romania and spelled out the name of aggressor and the principles of international law, naming clearly that it respects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Czechoslovakia. We all benefited from the moment, from that moment. That was the moment that somehow paved the way of your normalization of relations with the United States that we are going to celebrate 50 years of anniversary. So therefore, for us, again, seeing 141 members of the United Nations family taking this strong position in this very important moment of a crisis that we never faced over the past 70 years is rather confusion. And I believe that every hour that passes, it's a lost opportunity, because every minute that comes requires action and immediate action. Because again, I was referring to this wonderful book and hoping that your journey will continue towards maybe a new book that would be inspired by my words and called Shared Responsibility to Preserve International Order and Law. And going back to the point where I started and playing with words, from Muhammad to Jose and to Rafael, and because several of my colleagues were referring to the word inspiration, let me share with you something that it's a common thing that you meet in two different parts of the world. Above a cave in Kalimantan in Indonesia, and this is a very nice way to refer to my Indonesian colleague who is not now but has been mentioned, and he's a contributor to the book. So it's a script that it's then somewhere in a jungle in Indonesia, mentioned above the forest. And that coincides exactly with the thoughts that had been carried over by the first missionary in the New World. And it says like that: aspire to inspire before you expire. So let's take this moment as a moment of inspiration and aspiration for our shared responsibility. Thank you very much.